So where are you based, Nicole?
I'm in LA.
LA. What time is it there?
It's 12:40.
Oh, okay. So it's about 20 to 9 at night here.
Yeah.
Are you still in lockdown?
Yeah, we're in LA County specifically. We're only in stage 2 out of the 6 stages we have here because it's still the caseload is still pretty high in LA. But everywhere else around us, all the other counties are opening into stage 3 and some of them are in 4. So
Did you close earlier, later than everyone else? Is that why
no. Our governor is so progressive. He closed right away. So we actually, for being as many people as we have, we've done really, really well here.
Yeah. So are you able to go out or see family at all? Or are you in complete lockdown?
I have a very special needs, medically fragile son. Nobody's allowed in this house at all except for me and the 2 nurses and his sister. That's it. Yeah. He can't be exposed to anything else because he's just got too much chronic lung disease.
Yeah, it must be a really difficult time for you all then, at the moment.
Yeah, it's been really tough because my mother is suffering from Parkinson's and I'm Skyping with her daily to try to help her. But it's like not being able to be with the people you love when they're, in a bad space. That's difficult.
Incredibly difficult.
Yeah. How about you guys? Are you guys in lockdown now or?
We are and we aren't. It's incredibly confusing with our government, to be honest. With my wife and I and the children, we've got 2 children, a boy and a girl, have been indoors for 3 months solid. We've left for click and collects from like the local supermarket, where they just pack your car up for you, which is great. And we've been on a few walks around the nature reserve. Other than that, we haven't seen anyone. Like literally, a couple of family door stops and dropped presents for our daughter's birthday a few weeks back. But other than that, haven't seen anyone.
Yeah, I know. It isn't for me because I'm sort of an isolated artist person. I usually work from my home anyway. Yeah. But it is when the spring was happening, and now that it's like really nice weather here, it's like I would just want to be out all the time.
Yeah. Are you in an apartment or are you in
No, it's a house, and I have this porch that I set up for working outside when it's
nice,
cool enough. Yeah.
So
but we're starting to get the LA heat.
So how hot is it there?
Yesterday it was in the mid 90s.
Oh wow, gosh, yeah, it's raining.
34, 35 is that?
Oh, that's really hot.
Yeah. It gets very hot here, but it cools down in the nights, so it's lovely in the mornings and the evenings.
Yeah, here it's raining.
I know. I figure.
Pretty rubbish.
Okay, right?
Yeah, just got to deal with it. We've had a lot of heat, like until recently.
Ask you something. Your name is so familiar. Are you an actress?
I have done really small pieces years ago. I was a performer.
Your name. Is there a reason I would know your name?
I did a short film quite some time ago, but when I was younger, I was a performer, but I worked on a cruise ship and I did like musical theatre and stuff. Thorogood's my married name, but it may be from the LGBT Mummies Tribe. So my wife and I run that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But other than that, no, I'm not.
Your name. Somehow I know your name because it's very distinct, and I've seen her name before, but I don't know how I know you. So
might be someone else really famous that we've got similar names. Well, thank you for agreeing to the interview. So just for people that will be watching, it'd be great to understand what you do, if you can explain, and then obviously go on to the film and the reasons behind why you did it. So if you can explain what you do, that'd be great.
Well, I'm a writer-director primarily, and I work in what is called the micro indie level, films that are made for very, very little money.
Okay.
That's basically what Lesbians fund, very, very small independent features. And starting with Claire of the Moon in 1993, which sort of broke open the gates for lesbian cinema. And then films throughout all of these years, Elena and Donna, Perfect Ending, Little Man, my documentary about my son. And then I went through a series of personal grief because my brother and sister and father all died within 18 months of each other, and they were completely unrelated.
Oh my God,
after that, it's okay. I was working on this film, and it was called Nesting Doll at the time. But after all of that transpired, everything changed for me. And so I basically really wanted to put my heart and soul in this particular film and have it about my children, my son, as I said, who's special needs and very medically fragile. And what he brings to our lives, the joy and love and all of the many, many gifts he's given to me over the years. I wanted to try to express, this is what our lives look like for people who don't understand what it is to be a parent of a special needs child, who also have medical implications and complications. And because I deal with a lot of other moms who have kids with special needs, I started realizing a common theme, which is our kids are basically invisible. And in the acting community, you know, whenever there's like a serious illness of the week movie or any of those sorts of things, it's all done by actors who don't have special needs. And it's like, I really, really wanted to cast the little boy who was going to be representing my son with somebody who had true special needs. And that's where Cal came in. And little Cal Farron he's just one of the most magnificent human dudes on the planet. He's just full of love. He's really God's messenger. And I feel very, very blessed to have been able to work with him on this film, because I feel like what I wanted to try to say about our kids, he is such an incredible ambassador to the special needs community for the rest of the world. So that's basically what More Beautiful for Having Been Broken has boiled down to for me.
So can you just explain, you know, what the film's about, just for people that aren't aware of it, you know, what the story is and how it's based?
Yes. I know a lot of women in the UK watch Home and Away, correct? The soap opera.
I don't get to watch telly.
Okay. So Zoe Ventura just did a lesbian sub story with Willow. So there's this whole group of people called Willix, which are the Willow Alex fans from Home and Away.
Okay.
Zoe is also the lead in More Beautiful. She's an Australian actress who's super popular in Australia and just an incredible gal. But so her character is this FBI agent who's lost her mother and is struggling with having become very erratic. So she goes to a place where her mother used to take her when she was a kid. And when she's there, she meets little Freddie, who's played by Kel Farron. And Freddie just wants to be with her and avoids her no end. And she begrudgingly starts to, you know, really like him and fall in love with him, but then has to deal with his mother, who's a very, like myself, a mama bear, who's very defensive around her son and very like protective and doesn't want anybody coming into her life because she knows how critical her son is on and off all the time, and that he has a life expectancy issue. And so she doesn't have time to waste on people, but in spite of herself, she starts being drawn to Mackenzie, and that's basically the storyline. It's a love story between the three of them.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm sorry?
It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're very, very pleased with it, and we're very proud of it. I'm so proud of my cast and my crew.
How long did it take to film?
It took a month to film because we had a lot of locations for a small feature. And then, of course, we had the dance pieces, which we had to shoot at a theater stage setting. And so there was a lot of complications for a film this small. It was very, very, I really super challenged myself on this one.
You went above and beyond.
Pardon me?
You went above and beyond.
Yeah, well, because it was just so important and it was so beautiful. And my sister, who I lost, used to be a ballet dancer. And I've always been in love with contemporary dance. And Kayla Radomski, who plays Freddie's mom, Samantha, she used to be in So You Think You Can Dance here in the States. So she is a professional dancer. And my family and I watched her in 2008 and 9 go to the finals in that show. And so when she walked in, like 8 years later, it was when we did these auditions, it was like, oh my God, I know you, I love you. And she had just started her acting classes. She's just such an incredible hard worker. And so 2 years later, when we actually cast the film for real, I wanted to investigate if she could go from just being the choreographer to the lead. And she did really, really wonderfully. And I've been very happy with her and Zoe and Kale and the supporting cast was all kinds of wonderful people, including your Mrs. Padmore, who unfortunately got kind of sliced out of the film. Leslie Nicole from Downton Abbey. Yeah, she had a great role, but I had to cut for time, and that was a sub story that we had to slice to shreds.
It happens, doesn't it?
All the time.
So that's how you came to cast Zoe and Kayla. Can you tell us about the romantic blue love dance scene? If you can explain that.
Yeah. For anybody who's familiar with my films, love scenes are kind of a specialty of mine. And so I always try to bring something different and new to them. Yeah. And I I was looking all over on Google and YouTube and everything else to see women dancing love dances with each other. And there's like nothing out there, like nothing. And I was like, dance is so beautiful. What would it be like to have that represent the love scene? And at first it was just going to be the dance, not the intercut pieces. And the beautiful sunset piece wasn't a part of that. But when I started putting it together, and I worked on that sequence for a year and re-edited it a million ways from Sunday, I really felt like the way that it worked best is sort of the way that it ends up being in the film. But I'm doing a little featurette for that, behind the scenes of how the dance actually came to be, because we started with completely different music. I mean, I just want to show how we ended up where we ended up with this and where we started, because I think it'll give people,
evolved.
Yes, and it'll give people an appreciation for what happens when you collaborate and how all of that stuff ends up, falling into place. Plus, there's great footage that we couldn't use, so I'd like to share it with the girls who are all in love with that scene. So
it's amazing. So what do you have in store for NicoleConFilmsGlobal.com? So
that's a site that after I traveled with the festivals and saw the extremely poor attendance and the women's programming, and then talked to all the women at those festivals, they were like, we just want entertaining films, and these are all political or they're issue oriented or those sorts of things. And so I started realizing that the kind of films that I made that used to be very popular in the festivals, romance and dramas, just aren't anymore. So I thought, okay, then how do we serve the lesbian community now? And how do we fund our pictures? Because everybody's over the Kickstarter and the Indiegogo. And so we came up with this hybrid funding model, which is designed specifically for a lesbian to look at her pocketbook and say, this is what I can afford a month to ensure a new film every 18 to 24 months. Our goal is to have something in pre-production, production, and post-production at all times, but we can get something out to 18 to 24 months. But it's more than that. We're also creating a destination hub, and we're community partnered with OML, Tello, a bunch of other destination hubs already, so that we can try to do a central place where all of the productions are happening that are lesbian-based. And so people who are like a set designer in Arkansas can see, oh my God, this little lesbian movie is being made here. I'm going to put in my, whatever. Or they can submit scripts to us and we will look at them for consideration. But we're also trying to collaborate and co-produce. I'm doing my first co-production with Tello Films, Kristen Baker at Tello Films. We're going to do a thing called the Lesbian Dating Show, which is a very fun, entertaining romp for lesbians. And then I'm also doing my next feature through Nicole Con Films Global. But it's a place for people to find each other and work together and to support the lesbian library. Brilliant. And the only three criteria has to be entertaining, quality, and we haven't seen it in our library before, because what we need to do now is branch out to the subgenres, the horror, action adventure, the buddy, the road trip. All of those we don't have in our library. So it's basically devoted to and committed to continuing to create content for the lesbian community specifically.
It's brilliant, because there's not enough mainstream. There's no visibility for our community as it is. And if it is, it's completely the gender stereotypes. There isn't the non-binary, there isn't the transgender couple, there isn't the couple that are going through transition, there isn't the family with 3 kids through reciprocal IVF. There's no visibility of our families
unless just who we are in our being. And that's one of the things that I want to do with More Beautiful. It's like, we're just in these people's lives. We're not talking about coming out or any of that stuff. That we've done that. Now we're here. We just need to have movies that are about us, and what we do. And what you said is very important, because we wanted to be assimilated into the media, and we have been, and now we are a trope and a, sort of like you said, the sort of lesbian couple that's in the sitcom and the lesbian couple that's in the drama. But it's not about us. It's just they have us there because that's what we wanted. And so now we've gotten there. And women are still dying for more film fare and content that is so
Cut out.
made by, for.
Sorry, you cut out then.
Oh, I said made for, by, and about women. So
Yeah.
it's like, that's what the whole site is about.
Do you know what? It's really interesting as well, because obviously my wife and I run the LGBT Mummies Tribe. So it's an organisation to educate, share and celebrate women and support them on their path to motherhood, whether it be through fertility, surrogacy, adoption.
I love that. I love that. That is the best.
Thank
oh
you.
My God.
It's worldwide, so we support women worldwide. We have support groups for trying to conceive, pregnancy, new mama, single mamas. We're opening support groups, monthly, and it's a community and a safe haven for women to share their journeys and their stories and celebrate their beautiful families worldwide. So for us, it was when we had our children. We started 8 years ago, and we didn't have any support. We didn't know anyone really that were in the same position as us, as a same-sex couple that wanted children. And there's no visibility in the medium. For us, it's about creating positive visibility of our families and saying, like you said, not the stereotypes. We don't all look a certain way or speak a certain way or act a certain way from the rom-com stereotypes. This is us in everyday life. This is who we are. This is our family. This is our children. This is a new generation that we're bringing up. And we do a lot of work politically in the UK and with the NHS. So we're trying to work on a lot of policy change to support women through birth and pregnancy and creating like more positive outcomes to ensure that they're supported. Non-biological mums, surrogates, through the whole process. So that's what we do.
I love that. That's beautiful. That is just so awesome what you guys are doing. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here in the content community. And trying to work together, because when I first came to this town, it was like there was only room for one lesbian director. There was only room for one lesbian showrunner. It was like that was like it. And I just do not subscribe to that philosophy of scarcity, which has plagued our community forever. And the people I'm partnering with, like OML and Tello and Charlotte Robinson and Lady Parts TV, we all want to collaborate so that we can be stronger together and share our knowledge, experience, and the stuff that we already know how to do. And I also want to mentor younger lesbian filmmakers who are coming up.
Amazing.
Because that's one of my things I love. I mean, I'm so passionate about filmmaking, and part of the Nicole Kahn Films Global is to allow people who really, really want to be involved in film that's been a dream of their life. They can come and join Nicole Kahn Films family, NCFF. We've got about 1,200 members there. And what we use that community for is their opinions and research and development on what they want to see next and what actresses they're interested in and all of those sorts of things. Plus, if they subscribe or donor or whatever, they get to be involved in other ways. And so it's a way to try to have them be able to sort of realize their dream from afar. Because so many women who contact me say, I've always wanted to work in film or theater or write a book or write a script, but I've just never known what to do. Well, that's part of what this place is for as well. So,
creating the area and the safe space to say, actually, you're all welcome. And there's room for more than one or two of us.
There's room for all of us.
Everyone.
And the more we work together, the better off we will all be. So.
And it's also about breaking down barriers and breaking down those glass ceilings where people will be like, oh, okay, so you're a lesbian director, so we'll put you in that box. No, don't put me in a box. I can write anything. We can put anything forward. And it's a shame, but that's just the world we live in. But hopefully, as generations change, you're making change and we're making change so that can happen. But no, it's amazing.
And I think with the internet, the one thing that I realized with More Beautiful, more than any other film, is the global desire for these films and this content is so huge. We have 25 members all around the world, and Brazil and Africa and India. We have women from those countries because those areas are just dying for material and content. Exactly. you know, so that's one of the reasons I feel like with the internet now we can actually do this. Now that we've figured out how to use it all and the social media and all that stuff, now we can try to grow ourselves.
And also, whilst doing that, it's, you know, creating this specifically for us as well. It's really important to see our families reflected in films, and it very rarely happens. So the fact that you're doing that, and the fact that specifically with the film, what you've done there, because we have so many families within our community that have children, you know, with special needs, you know, with life-threatening illnesses, and they're not visible. And we've tried to create on our platform visibility for them, and there's features of, you know, their journey, because they're not visible, they don't have a voice. And for me personally, I want to be able to say someone came onto one of our social channels or onto our website once it's live, and I felt that I'm not alone. I felt that I saw someone, I looked in you know, through that computer, and I saw another family that were in the same situation, or another mother or mothers just like me, and I felt, oh, thank God I'm not alone. And that's the thing, I think at the internet now, like you said, it's evolving, but there's so many families that are getting left behind. So it's just taking time to create that visibility.
I'm really, really thrilled that we're talking, because I feel like More Beautiful is perfect for your group, because it does have, you know, we're just mothers inside where we are and with the special needs. Plus, I would really like to, I'll talk to you about this later, but Get You Little Man, because it's the story of Nicholas was born in the hospital because he was a preemie that was born 100 days early, at less than a pound. So shows it was for the HIPAA privacy laws. It shows what we went through in the NICU, because his intestines ruptured through his stomach, because he was like a little bird with just gelatinous skin when he was 1.5 pounds, and they had to do major surgery to take out, you know, parts of his intestine and stuff. And what he's been through and what he's lived through. And we were, you know, these two women who had this child and had no idea what to do at all, especially since he came so early. So yeah, I would love to share that with your.
Please do. And we'd be more than happy to share it with, you know, across the tribe and our social channels. It's so important, because there's so many women that are in that situation. And, you know, it's such a shame that, I don't know if you had support at that time, but the fact that some of these women now have us to support them and create that visibility, because it's so crucial, because it's such a frightening time, birth anyway, or having a child.
God. And when you have a preemie, in fact, that's what I ended up forming a business with another person who ran Preemie Magazine, and we wrote a help guide for preemie mothers who are in the NICU, because talk about not knowing anything and the terminology they use, and it's a totally insane universe in the NICU anyway.
Minefield.
Yeah, total minefield. So we did write a parent's guide for the NICU with all of the terms alphabetically put in there and everything else, because of the very thing, what you're saying about the mummies. It's like you find a real vacuum that needs to be filled, and you just do whatever you can to fill it, you know, so.
And he's a miracle, isn't he?
Oh, he's a total miracle. He should not have survived, but I know the reason he did survive is he is supposed to be a messenger, because the documentary spoke to people in ways that I didn't even know it was going to. It affected a lot of people. And,
did you get a lot of feedback from people that were in similar situations?
Oh my God, letters that would make me weep, actually. It was Showtime here in the States picked it up, and an Emmy campaign on, and everything else. It's probably my best work outside of More Beautiful. But definitely something for people to see who have anything that can happen to a child in the NICU has happened to Nicholas. So everything is sort of in that movie. And then the second half of the film is what happens when we have to make the hospital in our home, and what happens with our daughter, who's only 18 months old at the time. And and how my partner and I were really, you know, challenged. I mean, we finally, in the film, it looks like we have a happy ending. We didn't. Having somebody in your family that's that special needs and medically fragile takes a huge toll. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, we're all so super connected, my ex and I, you know, but it's very, very hard. I mean, we have 24/7 nursing still for him, because he's just so complicated.
Well, I have a main 9 to 5 Monday to Friday role. Normally I'm an account director. Then we run the LGBT Mummies Tribe as a family business, both of us. But up until recently, I was doing caring. So I was a carer for about a year and a half for a autistic teenage boy. And he had tuberous sclerosis. He was non-verbal, and he had epilepsy as well. So I understand the in and outs. I did awake nights, so I would do 3 nights a week with him. And it's incredible what that family had to go through. And I can quite imagine how difficult it must have been for you, because I used to come home and I used to just weep, just come in the door and just cry. And she'd go, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No," because they're so strong. They're so strong.
Oh my God, they have it down. We're the ones that are a mess. And that's part of, the line in More Beautiful, where my real life daughter says to him, "We need you more than you need us." And I really truly believe that.
Yeah.
And it does look like it's a burden and a challenge and all that, but once it becomes your normal, it's, it just becomes your normal. And so it's not like that. People, and that's the other reason for More Beautiful. I wanted people to understand these kids bring us so much joy and love. And Nicholas, so corny, but he is my greatest teacher. That kid, he's in the moment always. He's always happy. I can never feel sorry for myself around him ever because he's just too wonderful,
Bundle of joy. How old is he now?
He just turned 18.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Definite miracle.
Oh, very much so. And people who have seen the film, they follow him. They keep following him and wanting to know how he is. So I always post updates and stuff about him.
You'll have to send me some links, because I'd really like,
I absolutely will, because what you're doing, for moms, this is a total mom movie, because it just shows, what you do for your kids and what your kids do for you, really.
Exactly. Do you mind me asking? You don't have to answer. Did either of you carry? Which one of you carried him?
My partner carried our daughter, and we had leftover frozen embryos that were sort of a mixture that we had put in a black box, but we knew that all of her frozen embryos were gone. So we knew that Nicholas was my biological child. Yeah. I couldn't carry a pregnancy, and my partner wasn't ready to carry another pregnancy. So we actually had a surrogate.
Okay.
And the weird thing is I was doing a documentary about the surrogacy concept, because to me it was so amazing that somebody could actually go through all the pregnancy and hand over this baby. But when we had our 20-week ultrasound, the doctors were like, "Something's wrong with this baby," and we have no idea what it is, but this baby hasn't grown beyond, this baby is like miniature. Yeah. And from that point forward, that's where the film starts. And my partner and I were on totally different sides of what we wanted to do with the pregnancy. She wanted, to terminate it because it was just so unknown, and I couldn't. So, it goes from that part of the story all the way through until
it's an incredibly difficult decision. I don't think anyone could ever truly understand what you both went through until they were actually in that situation. No.
I've always been like, people have their own choice, their own right about abortion and termination of pregnancies. But I am telling you, when I was when that decision was in my heart and soul, and I could feel his essence, I was like, there's no way. There is no way I can you would have to put a gun to my head. I cannot terminate this child. Yeah. So it taught me so many things about myself, because I had no idea that that's how I would respond. Yeah. So.
And look, you've got him now. So.
Oh God, I'm so glad, because he's truly the greatest gift. He and my daughter.
What have you got planned next? So you've obviously talked about Nicole Con Films Global. What else have you got planned in the mix?
My next feature is about kind of what I went through when my sister committed suicide. That's how she died. And what happens when and it was a very violent suicide. What happens when you go through that kind of grief and you feel like you've gone insane and your reality is sort of ruptured because of that kind of grief. I don't think people really understand that kind of grief exists unless they live through it. And so it's about these two women who both one loses her son to a school shooting and another loses her sister to suicide, and how they're in a specialized grief group and deal with grief completely like the Odd Couple. They're opposites. And then they end up falling in love. And and there's a bunch of other story elements to it, but it explores that kind of grief. And how you heal comes in such unexpected shapes and forms that you just not, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's up next feature wise. And then, like I said, the lesbian dating show with Tello.
That's amazing. So you've got so much going on. How do you fit it all in?
A lot going on.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But that's the way you have to be in this business. You just have to keep going.
Are you with anyone now? I know you said about your ex-partner. Are you with anyone now, or have you not got time?
No, I will share. I'm very, very much in love with someone I intend to marry at some point, but I can't really talk about it more than that.
That's fine.
But yeah, I'm so glad you asked me that, because I am so in love with this woman.
Well, you can tell by the smile. It's like beaming. That's a good thing.
She is the most wonderful person I've ever met in my life. So yeah, I'm very, very blessed. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Congratulations.
It will be, we'll shout it out when we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You've got that support alongside you.
Well, she's in another country, and with COVID, we can't really communicate. We can't really, I mean, we're doing everything. Yeah, that's awful. Yeah. Between my brother and her, it's like, I feel like my whole life is like on the internet, you know?
Yeah. But it could always get worse. And at the end of the day, you'll get there in the end, which is great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about the film or share about what you do?
The only other thing I want to say is I think what you're doing is so phenomenal. I really do. I just love that you guys are doing that. And I will try to support you. If you want me to post on my social media, I would love to.
Oh, thank you.
Really, really awesome thing what you're doing.
Well, it'd be really great if you or Gillian I'll pop you over from an email with the links and stuff about what we do. And if you can send me more information about Little Man and the film, and some links to your stuff, I'll share it on our social channels too over the next few days. So get a bit more publicity for it. So there's not enough.
Super. Are you guys reviewing the film, or are you just doing the interview?
Just the interview. So happy to review the film as well. We'd love to view it. So if that.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Did you get a copy?
Huh? Yes. Would love to.
Oh my God. I didn't know you didn't have a copy. Oh my God. I will send you the link and the password, because I would love for you to see this as a mom.
Love to see it. Would love to. Super. And love to feedback, probably sit there weeping. I'll be messaging you, look what you've done to me.
Well, I'm really trying to connect with as many UK women who are destination hubs as well, because I have a huge following in the UK. It's just, I don't know where to market us there. So I'm trying to connect with as many of you gals as we possibly can.
Have you spoken to Diva magazine at all?
Is that Silky? Is Silky Bader on Diva, or was that a different one?
I don't
Diva's
know who that
UK,
is.
right?
Diva magazine's UK and Europe.
Oh yeah, they're Australian. No, but I'd love to. I mean, they usually.
I can put you in touch with one of their marketing ladies who's taken over their PR as well, because they have a community on Facebook of over 3,000 women, but obviously in their magazine, which is digital as well, they love promoting films that feature our community. So I can put you in touch with one of the women, and I'll do that tomorrow. I'll send an email and I'll introduce you, because I know that they'd love to speak to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, I love what you're doing. And
thank you.
Hear from me.
Definitely. Super. Well, congratulations, and I hope Nicholas is well, and we'll catch up with you soon, and I'll get those emails sent over the next day or so. But it was really, really lovely speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Same here. Take care, all right?
Take care.
Stay
See
safe.
you later. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.